I'll start broadcasting to YouTube, and people can also join on YouTube. So we're live, and I'll start in the next few seconds or minutes. Let me share. I'm gonna be sharing my screen throughout, so um, you're gonna be seeing the presentation. Okay. Uh, just 1 minute. For those joining on YouTube, just wait a moment while I get ready. Okay. Yeah, I start now. Okay, we're set. Uh, Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Joshua Owoyemi, and I'm going to be presenting this webinar on the AI journey from novice to expert level. Uh, this is my personal experience in AI, and I feel that not just a personal experience, but a somewhat unique experience also. And I feel that my experience can help someone who is interested in learning about AI or doing something in AI. And that is why I'm doing this. And I hope that you would be able to get the information from my point of view and it would help you in your own journey. So, first thing I want to note is that AI has already changed your life more than you know it. AI being artificial intelligence, and if you have ever used any of these three, or if you have ever been in contact or experienced any of these three, then it means that AI has already impacted you in ways that you don't know. First of all, if you have ever used a search engine, for example, from Google, Google uses AI heavily in order to optimize search. Imagine you searching for a keyword and having to wait like 5 minutes, even 5 seconds before it comes out. Google helps uses AI to help in finding the right content for your search. And also, one other way that we've been using AI for a long time is camera apps. I know most of people who use a smartphone these days. You have something called the beauty mode. If you have ever used the Instagram, for example, using filters on the Instagram app, these filters are some are applications of AI in some ways. You know, and one area that is very, very common is even in camera apps is facial recognition. So when you try to take a picture and there is a face that appears, I mean, there is a box that appears on the face of the people in the picture. These are practical applications of AI. And have you ever probably browsed something on the internet and somewhere else on another page of the internet there is a ad that is targeted towards you because of what you already browsed from another web page? These are practical applications that companies are using today in order to, I mean, have AI. Maybe you've even bought something because a company targeted an ad towards you because of your browse history or the way or the browsing pattern on the internet or how you use your uh, internet browser. These are all practical applications of AI. And these are ways that people have been using AI that even though we do not know or it doesn't look very obvious, but every day these are how the ways that people use or people are impacted with AI. So in summary, I'm gonna talk in three major headings. I'm gonna talk on the introduction. I'm gonna talk about the applications of AI more than the ones I've talked about before. And what is AI itself? What does it really mean? I mean, people say AI, it's more like a buzzword these days. And do you really know what it means? I'm going to be defining in a special way that you can easily understand. And then I'm going to be talking about my story, how I started this journey and how I'm able to go from being a novice to an expert level. And you can see the question mark I put at the end of the expert level because it's still a journey, something that you continue to do. However, you can get to a level that we can say is an expert level. and I'm going to be talking about the trends and the future speculations for AI. What should we expect uh, for AI? How do I think it's going to affect our lives more than it has been affecting our lives right now? So the reason or the objective of this presentation is to share my personal experience about becoming an expert in AI and deep learning. If you don't know what deep learning means right now, don't worry. It's just another word that is used in this space in AI. I'm going to define it later, and you're going to understand what it means. Then I'm going to give necessary information to encourage interest in AI. I'm not sure what level of AI you are in. Maybe you're starting, maybe you don't even know what it is, or maybe you've been doing something that is related to AI and you want to just find some new tools or some new information that you need to keep going. I'm going to share some necessary information. So, what is artificial intelligence? I'm not going to try and define formally because there is a lot of definition for artificial intelligence in the academic space. But I'm going to define it in a way that you can easily understand. And maybe it's not a formal definition, but it's the understandable definition of AI. So I'm going to define it by the applications. What are people using AI to do? And that this is like the state of the art that is recently, not 5 years ago, but in the space of last year and this year, what are people using AI to do? I'm gonna just hold on a little bit. Okay. So there's this company called DeepMind. DeepMind is an AI company, and they've been doing a lot of work in artificial intelligence recently. And DeepMind can actually detect over 50 eye diseases as accurately as a doctor can. So imagine that a doctor who goes to the university or to learn for up, up to 10 years in order to be able to detect the diseases of the eye. And you have a simple machine or simple algorithm who is able to do this, and 50 different types, and with a very high accuracy, as also as good as the doctor is. And just imagine that you can do this many times over in many, multiple times in a day. A doctor can do it maybe slowly, maybe more accurately, but in a slower speed. But using the power of the computer, you can actually replicate this result in many folds. And this year, the US government is giving about 9.39 billion in funding on uncrewed systems. So what are uncrewed systems? I know you've heard about drones or some kind of flying objects that they're becoming more popular today. So in this place, the U.S. government is using AI in order to reduce the casualty in war by deploying systems that doesn't need humans. So imagine that you have to go to war, and you have fleets of drones that can go to war, and no single person is inside the drone when the war is going on. That is massive save in a massive save in lives of people, and how much you can save people's life using AI. And 2 years ago, just about 2 years ago, actually, an AI generated music helped to make hit songs. So there is this. This is actually the first album that has been produced using some kind of AI. In this 2017, a full album, not just a track this time, was written and produced using artificial intelligence. You can search for this album online. You can listen to it. It's as good as a normal album that people, produce. But in this case, an AI is used in the production process. And this is one that is also very useful these days. This writer, known as Robin Sloan, uses a computer program he created to write his latest novel. So imagine that you want to write a news or article or something, and you don't actually need um, to provide all the details, or you only need to provide the context of the article, and the AI can do all the research for you and put all the research together in a complete article. This is something that people are doing, I mean, recently, even with AI. There's actually a recent breakthrough that the articles were so good that the researchers thought that this is really dangerous, because imagine if some person with some sinister mind decided to use this kind of technology to write articles about people. Now, these articles were really good that the researchers decided that we are not going to release this tool for people to use. This is how, I mean, AI has advanced over the years. And in career, in HR, in I mean, recruiting, this company called Deloitte report found that 33% of survey respondents already use AI, some form of AI, in their hiring process. So imagine that you're a big company and you're getting multiples of curriculum, CVs or resumes every day. Like, companies are using AI in order to be able to remove the unnecessary, I mean, the non-qualified people from, so that they can focus only on the people that are qualified. There's still a long walk to this. However, some people are already using it, as quoted by this company. About 33% already are using this technology in the hiring process. And something that you probably have used or some way or somehow, that I mentioned also before, AI is heavily used in phone cameras to enhance photos and to choose the best photos. So this was actually released last year with the Google Pixel, with the phone from Google. When you take a picture, the system takes several photos when you click only once, and it cycles through the photos in order to choose the best picture for you. Imagine when you're taking a picture, I know you might have experienced this before, and just when you take the picture is when you close your eyes and you cannot get back that moment. So AI is helping people to get the best out of their gadgets by choosing, in this case, the best photos. And in banking and finance, um, you might have heard of this before, but a lot of banks are adopting chatbots and personalized customer services in order to reduce the manpower needed in order to deal with people. So imagine you have a chatbot that can chat with people, even like a human can. This kind of technology is already available, and a lot of companies are actually using this to replace their customer service. And in a way, this also helps to have a personalized customer service to people or to their clients. And so, having said all of this, all the applications of AI that we have, how do people actually define artificial intelligence? I would define it based on, people in the industry and enterprise leaders. And these are like many ways that people say they think how they envision AI. And so they say that some people say that AI things should think and act like humans. These are systems that think and act like humans. More people think this way. And number two, they think that AI should be something or an algorithm or a solution that can learn to do things better over time. And number three, can understand language, can answer questions, can pass the Turing test. Actually, don't worry about the Turing test. It's just It's just a term in computer science. This is not a very big no, percentage of people. However, if you look at number 1 to 4, these are majorly people what people expect that AI should be about. And this is how, in fact, AI has been applied in our lives today. AI has been used in a way to replace the repetitive task from humans and to learn to do those things better and to be able to talk to people and answer questions. And one top priority for organization is that AI should be able to predict things. This is a big, I mean, this is a fundamental human uh, desire to be able to predict, to be able to predict the future. Imagine if you can know a particular um, shares that is going to rise tomorrow or that is going to fall tomorrow, and you can know with all certainty that this share is going to rise by maybe 30%. Imagine how much money you can make if you can be able to do this. A lot of companies or organizations are spending a lot of money to be able to come up with systems that can do this kind of predictive analysis. So the definitive example would be, when should I buy X stocks? There could be many other ways that this can be applied, but this is one, probably the number one problem that people want to tackle, because stock market or investment market is a very big thing, and people want to know how to make money from this area. And so, broadly speaking, I've defined artificial intelligence, and in some ways, you would hear machine learning, and in I also said something about deep learning recently. And so, what you just need to know is that artificial intelligence is the broader perspective of this kind of systems, systems that are built to act or to behave like humans or to learn on their own. So, and this has been coming for many years, from the 1950s up until even up until now. And in the 1980s, what we term as machine learning started, and in the 2010s, what we term as a deep learning started. So AI covers all of this. However, people are, I mean, focusing on more and more specific areas of AI because it's very, very large, or is very, very broad. So what is machine learning? Basically, machine learning is an application of AI that provides the system the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being programmed. So the way programming works is that we tell the computer step by step what to do. However, in machine learning, we do not explicitly tell the computer step by step what to do. We only show the computer maybe a result. We can show the computer a result that we expect. And so the machine decides or learns by itself which steps to take in order to get that result. And in deep learning is more like a broader family of machine learning methods. This is a more direct area of machine learning. Let's just say it's a deeper area of machine learning. Okay, some people joining us right now. Just okay, hold on. If you have any questions, just write them in the chat area. Just write the questions in the chat area. Okay. So let me conceptually explain what machine learning is. So imagine you want to tell a computer what a banana looks like. For humans, this is very simple, or this is very easy because it comes to us more or less intuitively. Once you see an example of a banana, or you are shown that this is a banana, then you find a way to be able to get some information and use that information to identify some other some other examples of banana. However, for a machine, this is different because machines don't have the same uh, reasoning faculty as the human. So in the beginning, when you are trying to tell a machine or a computer what a banana looks like, you would not probably get a good answer. So this is why you have this: is this a banana? This conceptual explanation, and this is just to let you understand how this machine learning or AI kind of works. So you show an example of a banana to the computer, and you don't get a good result, and you don't get something meaningful, like as shown here. So what do? There is a process where we can actually correct and say, this is what I mean by the picture I've shown you. So you try to correct the computer and say, this is a banana. And one other thing that you do is you would show many pictures of banana, like not just one picture. Then you would like repeat the process and show many pictures, sometimes thousands, sometimes millions of pictures of banana, just so that the computer can build its own representation for what a banana is like. And when you do this, you find out that the error, the mistake that the computer does begins to decrease. Then you get to a point where the computer can actually tell you with some certain level of confidence or probability, high probability, that this is a banana. So what is happening here is that the computer creates its own representation of what a banana is. Then it is able to give a correct response. So when you show another example of a banana, the computer now is able to say with some level of accuracy that I think this is what a banana is. A conceptual explanation of how machine learning works. You have some data that you want the computer to learn, then you feed the data many times into the computer and correct the computer when it's wrong. Then when it sees a lot of this data, then it can develop its own representation of what the data is. And so we'll go to the question of how to become an AI expert. How do you actually, attain the knowledge or the expertise of an AI? Well, there are two ways that I've spelled out here: formally and pragmatically. However, formally, you can acquire knowledge about linear algebra. I'm not sure how many of us are into science or into some kind of science here, but you would know what all of this means. Linear algebra, you have to understand what linear algebra is. To some extent, calculus, statistics, and probability. These are the four areas that people, and also logic. These are the four or five areas that you have to be really vast in order to be able to apply, to be an expert in AI. And pragmatically, which I think it is the most practical way for people who are not into maybe academics or who are not interested in maybe in deep theory or something like that. I would say that you should pick a problem. So what problem do you want to solve with AI? Say I want to be able to identify some types of cancer in a patient. Then you ask yourself, how do I use AI to do this? The good thing is that a lot of work has been done in this area. A lot of tools have been developed for AI. And so you can easily find a tool that suits your problem. And you can just find a tool that suits the problem, then apply the tool into your problem. What you now need to know is, how do I apply this tool? Which is not as difficult as going through all the formal steps before being able to apply that knowledge. And this is a quote I got from one of the authorities in AI. He said that we have enough papers. Stop publishing and start transforming people's life with technology. So there is enough work that has been done in AI. Actually, it's hard. It's much more hard now to come up with something new in AI, because there is a lot of work that has been done, a lot of tools that have been developed by researchers or by enterprise people. You can just pick up this tool, learn how to use it, and apply it to your problem. And so I'm going to go next to my story. How did I navigate this whole AI thing? Okay. So my journey started in 2015. At that time I would call myself a total novice, because I actually didn't know anything about AI or machine learning or deep learning. However, I was a graduate of mechanical engineering. I had already done my master's in Nigeria, and at that time also I got a scholarship to study in Japan, to study PhD in Japan. So, but at the time, no knowledge about programming. Just a few. Just I couldn't call myself a programmer at that time, because I just used a very simple program to do something, not in the way that you would use it in AI. Then I didn't know anything. Actually, I didn't know anything about machine learning. In fact, the first time I heard about machine learning was when I met my professor. When the first time I met him, and we talked, and he told me that I should go and learn about machine learning, because when I discussed my topic with him, he said that I would be working with something that is dealing with computer vision. So I should think about machine learning, how to use machine learning for that problem. And that was the first time I heard about machine learning. And so I started finding about what exactly machine learning is, and putting in mind that I did not have a programming experience. And so the first problem was to choose which programming language to use. This figure shows how the Python has been becoming more and more popular since 2012. And this owes to a lot of work that people are doing in computer vision and deep learning and machine learning. And one other reason is that because my Python is very easy to use. It's very easy. It's like a beginner's language. And the syntax, or the way that you code in Python, is probably the nearest to human spoken language, or human written language. And so I knew that I needed to learn Python, and I would be mentioning some courses or some resources that I used, and you can check them out later. But these are the courses or resources that really helped me in the early years. So I knew that I'm going to be learning Python, so I decided to just start from the scratch, learn computer science. And fortunately, there was this course on EDX, Introduction to Computer Science Using Python. And at first I took that course. It took maybe 8 weeks or so to finish this course. The good thing is that you have exercises that are targeted towards you actually applying what you're learning. And I also took later from Udacity. Udacity is another platform for learning. I took programming foundations with Python. Basically, what I learned from Udacity is how to use Python in an object-oriented way. If you understand what I mean, if you're into programming, you understand what I mean. It's more like advanced level of programming. However, from EDX, I was able to understand first how computer science works and how to use Python for general programming. And next, I decided to tackle machine learning. How did I get to do that? Actually, before now, I tried to read some books, and it was really hard to understand what the books were trying to do because I didn't have the. I mean, it was. I think probably trying to understand from books is a little more difficult than just, taking some courses online using some video resources. So if you're, thinking of maybe reading a book, or this is good. However, I wouldn't advise that you start reading a book right away. I would advise that you probably watch some videos, take some interactive courses that are targeted towards maybe some practicals. This will help you to understand more conceptually what that subject is. Then, for in-depth knowledge, then you can try to read books, because books now, and I personally think that books are for people who have grasped the basics enough to be able to expand it. So I was able to take this this course on Coursera, which I think is the best introduction to machine learning course that I've seen online. And it is also by the person I mentioned earlier, Andrew Ng. It's very, very expressive. The explanations are easy. You didn't need to learn a lot of theory in order to do this. They just put you directly into how to apply it. You conceptually you understand what machine learning is, and you are able to work on many different problems. And I think this is probably the best introduction to machine learning. The only thing is that it's introduced in MATLAB. So, but that should not stop you from doing this course, because what you need here is not the language, it's the concept of machine learning, is the general understanding of machine learning. And so when I learned about machine learning, there were more difficult problems that most of machine learning couldn't do. For example, at that time um, I was trying to develop an algorithm to recognize strawberries from images. Yeah, some methods in machine learning worked, but they were not as good as using deep learning. So this was what prompted me to start to learn about deep learning. And I got to know about this website, neural networks and deep learning.com. The good thing about this website is that, one, it used Python, which I already learned earlier, and it gradually explained deep learning in increasing level of difficulty. So you don't just jump right in and you're tired uh, because the problems are too difficult, but it gradually explains it. If you're a beginner, you newbie, it starts there, then it builds on that to explain the next step. So this is a course that I would really recommend for anyone. And the thing is, like, it's more like a book. However, it's interactive because it's on the internet. You can play with some things there. Then you can write your own code. So this is not just like a book that you open and close. It's more like an interactive resource that you can use. So next, the next thing you want to try to do is start doing projects, start laying your hands on different projects. now you've already had the knowledge of programming, and at this point I had some idea in machine learning, and I've read some resources on deep learning. The next thing to do for me was start doing projects, a lot of projects. And well, it can be hard to find projects to work on if you're not maybe guided or under some kind of supervision, or mentored by someone. And in order to find projects for me, I also took one more course from Udacity. The reason I took this course was that it was a course that was targeted towards an area that I was interested in, like self-driving car engineer. So at that time, I was really interested in self-driving cars. However, the course was project based. The course had up to 14 projects which you had to complete in about a year before you can graduate. So you had to, it was, you had interactive classes, you had exercises, and then after each topic, you had a project to do. And that project, you would be given codes. You would have to, your code will be evaluated by some people who knew better, and they'll tell you which part is bad, which part is good, what you have to do better, what you have to do less. And so this course actually exposed me to how, I mean, people actually apply in the sense of project, and it also helped me to build my portfolio. So because what is the aim of doing this? You want to be an expert, right? And an expert, how do you know an expert? An expert is someone who has a knowledge and who has something to show for it. So if you're an expert and you don't have anything to show for it, then it's more like you don't have anything. So good thing about this course was that it helped me to build my portfolio because it's linked to my GitHub profile. So if you look at my GitHub profile, you can see a lot of projects that I did while doing this Udacity course. Up to 14 projects. And the final one was the capstone project, which I had to work with other people. And these are help in many countless ways. For example, when I go for job interview, I tell the interviewer and say that I did this project during this course, and you can tell them which projects you did. So it shows that you have done something, not just that you're learning something or you have the theoretical knowledge, but a project tells more about your experience or your practical experience. And last but not the least, because I was also a PhD student, I was doing this while being a PhD student. So I was doing research, imagine, and I was also learning extracurricularly, all the things I was mentioning. So I also had research projects that I was working on. Um, some videos down here shows some research that I worked on, some project research that I worked on, which helped me to actually, you know, launch myself out, not just as a maybe software engineer right now, but more as a researcher. Because now I'm able to, because of the knowledge that I have, I'm able to bring about or create new knowledge in order to, I mean, apply to maybe new problems or problems that we have defined. And these two kind of came together and helped me in my final year, as my second and final year in my PhD. And there's something here that I said that I coined the LinkedIn effect. So this is more like you're being an expert, right? So how do people know that you're an expert? There are many ways. I've talked about GitHub, which is where you put your project. I'm sure many people will have heard about LinkedIn, which is a site where you can meet recruiters or people who are interested in the skill that you have. And so during this self-driving car engineering nano degree, the one other thing that the providers of this course did was to make sure that you updated your GitHub profile. You have enough projects on your GitHub, because that's what the recruiters look into this place a lot, and they make sure that what you learn also is reflected in your LinkedIn. So, and I think that, LinkedIn has been something that actually changed, it changed my life basically, because as soon as I finished the self-driving car engineering, and I was asked by Udacity to kind of paste or post all these projects and update my LinkedIn profile to show my project and what I've been doing and the projects I've been doing and the experience that I have. It was so a surprise to me, because at this time I was not looking for. I was not actually actively looking for a job or something. I was still a student, and then I was contacted by this company, Microvision, in the US, that were actually looking for people to consult for them. And when they saw the work I've been doing with from Udacity, and coupled with the fact that I'm also a PhD student and I've been writing some papers, then they felt like, okay, I could be able to do something for them. And fortunately for me, I was able to talk to them, and they felt that I could contribute something to their company. And so this was, something that actually made me feel that I'm already getting some responses or some benefit from my learning experience. And so I became an independent consultant for this company, and I was working with them on certain projects that I cannot share with you right now. But this project made me to actually show my skill to people, and it boosted my confidence in myself and what I've been able to do, and the projects I've been able to do. So this part is what I call the LinkedIn effect. So without the previous part that I've been talking about, and with the Udacity, and now putting everything on LinkedIn, probably I would not have been able to get this opportunity. So maybe this is not related directly to AI, but as an expert, this is a tool that you really want to use. You want to make sure that you are visible on the internet, you are visible in the hiring space, so that people can use the tools that you have and the knowledge that you have. And so the question is that, are you already an expert? Well, I would say that I'm still learning, and even though now I'm done with my PhD, I'm still learning. I'm reading papers. I'm trying now to gain more in-depth knowledge. And I think right now it's much more easier to learn more theory. In the beginning, it was hard to learn theory because of the, I think at that point you have an excitement to apply something. And so the theory kind of slows you down. Even as a matter of fact, if you have I mean, the excitement to overcome that stage and go through the theory, it is good. But if you're constrained by time and you really want to start something immediately, sometimes going deep into theory slows you down. However, at this stage, I think I'm more comfortable now to kind of consume theory and try to see exactly how those tools work. So my big advice for here is that you first need to learn what a tool does. So when you start working with AI or some tools in AI, the most important thing is that you learn what a tool does. And then when you learn what the tool does, then you can now learn how the tool does what it does. This helps you to, this is when you move from just a user to the expert level. Now you can now manipulate the tool to give you the kind of result that you want. And so The last part here is the last part. I'm going to be talking about the trends and future speculations. What have I seen in the past few years? And how do I think AI is going to still go on to affect our lives? First thing I want to say that data is the new oil. So data is something that AI feeds on. Every single day as human beings, we generate uncountable amount of data. Imagine, I mean, on your phone, when you walk from somewhere, Google is actually uh, collecting data about your movement, how you browse, which sites you visit, which links you click, which videos on YouTube that you watch, which videos on Facebook that you watch. This is the new oil that a lot of companies are mining in order to get a better understanding of the world, get a better understanding of their customers, and use these insights to sell themselves. So the first thing you have to understand is that data is the new, and this is very important for companies, or if you're interested in AI as a business, you should understand that your currency as a business person or as a business is the data that you are able to generate. Then the next level is being able to analyze that data and bring out insights from it. And this is why recently, I mean, many years ago, data mining became popular. And one of the most popular um, tech jobs nowadays is data analysis. And this is another part or another area in AI that people are really into because there is a lot of data out there and people want to make sense of the data. And if you can make sense of the data, then you have an advantage that you can sell or that you can convert into profit. Number two is that AI will continue to be applied in various industries. In medicine, AI is used for drug discoveries, even drug discoveries that humans cannot discover by themselves. AI is being used to enhance the or to accelerate the discovery process so that these drugs can be, I mean, used in people's life. And in finance, which is a very big area, I mentioned in the beginning, for market prediction, more and more AI is going to be used. And even now, AI is being used for credit and loan evaluation. There are some algorithms that can determine whether you are able to pay back a loan or if you're not going to pay back, if you're not going to be able to pay back a loan, or whether a company should give you a certain credit or not. Because companies they want to save money and they don't want to just waste money. So if they can save money using this kind of methods, then they invest a lot of money in it so that they can save money on the long run. These are areas that, I mean, AI is, these are not just the ones that are going to be used, but these are interesting areas that people are actually actively working on right now in AI. And I also think I just want to address something that people are really afraid. They think that AI is going to take the jobs. As a matter of fact, I think AI is going to change the way we work. And if you think about the revolutions, I mean, the industrial revolutions that has happened in the past, when the machines came, people were like, the machines are going to take the job. And when the internet revolution came, people thought, the internet is going to take people's job. And well, good news is that there are a lot of job descriptions that are available today that did not exist 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago, people were not considered, people who did these jobs were not considered people who were working. Imagine iOS developers, Android developers, social media manager, data scientists, and UI UX. Who are these people? These are new jobs um, that have been developed by the advent of internet. If the internet didn't come, these jobs wouldn't be available. So I also think that with the wide use of AI, new job roles are going to be created. I mean, like there are going to be AI engineers, AI software, AI programmers. A lot of, I mean, as much as the applications of AI that are being used, those are as much of new jobs that are going to be created. So, in real sense, AI is not going to take away the jobs. It's just you just have to position yourself to a place in a place where you can make use of AI to secure the next wave of jobs or the next wave of the new jobs that are going to come. And I think AI is going to change the way we work. And so from here, what next? I would say that you should get involved, learn tools in AI. There are many tools that you can use, learn in AI. And these are part of the things I'm going to be talking about in part two and part three. Uh, in part two, I'm going to focus on the information, essential information that you need. Uh, I've gone through all the process. I've made some mistakes, and I think that you can learn a lot from my experience. The things that I learned, the things that I tried and I failed, the things that I started and I didn't finish, the things that I, you know, just abandoned along the way. This this experience that made me to understand what are the things that are essential in the journey of learning about AI. So I'm going to be sharing about this. I'm going to be talking about some tips or the resources that you need. I've mentioned some today, and talk about some simple algorithms that people are using that you can start using immediately. And in part three, I'm going to talk about AI in business. How do you apply AI for business? I mean, in the topic is from algorithm to profit. How has companies been using AI for profit? And I'm going to be, talking about that. How to make money, basically how to make money using AI. And the added benefit for signing up for these two parts is that I understand that it's not just by telling you, I mean, these things that is going to work. You need you need a guidance. You need someone to you need to go and try by yourself and come back and say, I tried this, it didn't work, what do I do? So I'm going to be, if you're going to be signing up for this, I'm going to be giving you a 1 month guidance, which means I'm going to be able to meet you like some regular time every week so that we can go over some problems that you have, and I can point you in the right direction, what to do and what to learn. And number two is that I'm going to give you also some access to my personal tools and resources that I've been using over the years. And I think it's a good deal. You should think about it and sign up. It's not so much. You're gonna get a lot from it, from my personal experience and my guidance, and I'm gonna give you and the access to my personal tools. Yeah, so at this point, I would end the sharing. I'll stop sharing, and I would entertain questions. If you already have questions, please just type into the chat area. Then um, I will address those questions. I believe that you're hearing me. If you're First of all, if you have a question, please just type into the. Okay. Any questions or any areas that you want maybe some clarification?
No, for now, I think everything was well explanatory. Kudos to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
maybe over the time when because I'm actually just hearing about artificial intelligence more in
Okay.
depth for the first time. I've heard
All right.
about it, but I never even really browsed to know what it meant. So
Okay.
maybe after today, I would give it a look on the internet. Then,
All right.
if I have any questions, I would get back to you.
All right. Good.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think we can end the broadcast here.